Hi everybody, Pat Hogan here from Delaware River Yacht Club, here with another our continuing series of videos on seamanship and specifically on marlinspike seamanship, at least for the time being. Today we're going to look at the Cleat Hitch, and oddly enough this video has been more challenging than the other ones because there's so many different you see this knot tied all kinds of different ways, and you walk along the dock and I'm sure you've seen what I mean. The truth is most of these knots will work fairly well. Some of them won't, and there's a lot of different people with different opinions on how this ought to be done. So that being the case, I started with Chapman's Seamanship and Piloting the Seamanship book. You can see it down there in the corner. So I looked up in there and I was surprised because the way Chapman says to tie this knot is not the way I have been tying it. So we'll start off, and I'll try not to bang the camera too much here. Chapman says that you start off like this. The line comes from the boat, passes around the horn of the cleat. You do a turn around the other side. Then you do one crossover, and then a locking hitch. And according to Chapman's, that's all you have to do for a cleat hitch. So I suspect that if you tied this knot with a larger diameter line, this is a 5 or 6 inch cleat here. If this was a 5/16 line, then I suspect that it would do pretty well. This is a little bit smaller line. If you look, when you pull on it, it begins to slip. So you have to do something about it. And the way I've been tying this for years, it's similar. Go around the far end of the cleat, another turn there, your first pass, your second pass, and then I do a locking hitch. That locks it down pretty good, and it's much less likely to pull. And like I say, that's the way I do it. If there's an even greater disparity between the size of the cleat and your line, you have to take other measures. So here's a small line, and say you're in your dink and you're in Baltimore or Annapolis, and you have your little painter, and you pull up next to this massive cleat. Well, you do what Chapman says to do, and that's just not going to happen. So you have to make it better. And the best way to make it better is to do a couple turns. So you take your line, go around, and instead of starting up here, do a full turn, maybe even a second turn, and then do your locking cleat, your locking hitch rope. When you pull on that, that's not going anywhere. I'm going to say one thing that a lot of people do and that you shouldn't do. What you shouldn't do is this. You don't need to make one after another of your figure 8 passes. That's just a waste. There's no reason for it. It doesn't provide anything extra in the holding power of this knot. And the other thing that you don't do, and I'm going to have to try to make myself do it wrong here. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's wrong. You have to, it's essential that the lines lay flat underneath the hitch there. When you do it the other way, there's not much really holding that. You can see that it doesn't even want to hang there. So there you go. There is your cleat hitch, the Chapman way, and the Pat Hogan way. So do your research, try it with your equipment, and see what works best for you. All right, have a good day.